Sanibonani bebukeli sinamukele kuhlelo Yilungelo Lakho it's your right sisakaza bukhoma la kumahamba phambili phela SABC 1 eMzansi for sure. Thank you so much for joining us mbukeli mina uyangazi igama Alisha intombi yakaJabu ngikhumbule mbukeli ukuhamba kwesikhathi phela sizomvulela ithuba ukuthi nani nibambe iqhaza phela kudaba sobe silikhuluma namhlanje uyazi inamba zethu zase studio 0117146918 noma uzame ku 7146919 siyatholakala futhi ku Facebook kanti sikhona futhi ku Twitter. Ever wondered why you end up paying 3 times the price of a product you buy on credit? Well, it is made up of all kinds of costs, amongst them interest, initiation fees, and delivery charges. In addition, consumers have to pay for insurance on goods they buy on credit. It is this cost of credit insurance that consumer rights bodies think has been used for years to overcharge consumers. Now, the credit regulator wants the law to limit how much can be charged by suppliers.
The high cost of credit insurance in South Africa has thrown the spotlight on the unethical practices some of the retail and financial services companies resort to in the pursuit of profits. As the festive season is upon us, to many consumers, this is the time to flood the stores in search of a bargain. But to some companies, it's a season to make a financial killing. It's items like these that are highly sought after, and the bait to customers is get it now and pay later. And very few bother to scrutinize the terms and conditions, as they are often hidden in fine print. A typical example is the addition of further charges to the original price, using an intricate formula of calculating credit insurance cover or interest rates. Credit life insurance is often sold to protect customers from negative effects should they be unable to repay debt due to death, disability, or job loss. It is not illegal, but it is how it is administered to the consumer that becomes a problem. Some companies, especially in the retail micro-lending sectors, may use the credit life to rip off customers by telling them it is compulsory and then charge rates that are above industry norm. This is one way for lenders to avoid the fee limits on credit imposed by the National Credit Act. The Act requires the credit provider to give the consumer full details of the cover and may not add any fee above the actual cost of the insurance. Often consumers are not aware that they are not bound to use the credit provider's chosen insurance if a better insurance is available elsewhere. This is the gap some insurance agents exploit selling credit life insurance. Credit life products have become popular and consumers are most often forced to pay for them, thus presenting lucrative opportunities for unscrupulous lenders. In a bid to end this, there are efforts to curb the exploitation of consumers by limiting the amount credit providers will be able to charge for credit life insurance to 4 Rand for every 1,000 Rand of the credit taken. Industry players have welcomed this move by the National Credit Regulator. For many consumers, the proposed capping of the amount charged on credit could yet be another victory for consumer rights. Yilungelo Lakho.
Sibonge kakhulu ngalombiko esiwenzele nguVuyisile Mdoda. Now to further discuss concerns around the costs of credit insurance on goods and services, let's extend a very warm welcome to Peter Mkhuna. He is the Senior Assistant in the Office of the Short-Term Insurance Ombudsman. We are also pleased to be joined by Kobus Berger, the Head of Legal at Summit Garnishi Solutions. Samgele Nosipho Siroto, a former sales agent for a group of chain stores, who's here to tell us a bit about Indaba Yake. Gentlemen, a very good afternoon to you. I'm thinking I usually have ladies. A very good afternoon to you and welcome to the show. Let's just start by understanding what it is that you do, Kobus. Tell us a bit about your organization, very briefly.
I work for Summit Garnishi Solutions. Basically what we do is we take the place of an employer when it comes to garnishee orders. We audit the garnishee orders that is served on the employer by the sheriff. And basically what we do while we're auditing it, we approach the attorneys or collectors, we request all the documents on which the garnishee order was based, and we go through that scrupulously. Like, we take the loan agreements, we see whether the charges on the loan agreements is in accordance with the National Credit Act. That's your initiation fee, your service fees, your credit life fees. And should we find any discrepancies, we take on those collectors or attorneys, and we take them to court should we find any problems.
All right, so really consumers should be trying to flock to you right now.
We are totally for the consumer and trying to help them.
All right, let's welcome you, Putsipo. Putsipo, we know you're going to tell us a story later on, but awusichazele nje background yakho.
Okay, my background ngibonge kakhulu nakubabukeli sis Alicia kusamukela lapha ohlelweni. Just a little bit, mina ngingasebenza ngendaba eziphathelene nama insurance phambilini, and then namhlanje ngizelana ngokuthi ukuthi sifundisa ababukeli kunye nabathengi emakhaya ukuthi ikuphi kumele ukuthi baqaphele uma ngabe kuza esikhathini sokuthi kumele ukuthi uthathe umshwalense kanjalo kakhulukazi uma sibheka kakhulu endabeni mhlambe ake ngithi mhlambe uyovula uthatha insurance credit ake ngithi mhlambe uapply credit somewhere, and then bese ke bakutshela ngendaba zemshwalense kumele ukuthi mina lapha namhlanje ukuthi ngizochazela ababukeli kabanzi
ubuchwepheshe wena ngale ndaba leyo, so uzosichazela kabanzi. Let's get to you, Peter. Peter, awusichazele kabanzi about your background and company.
Good afternoon. The Ombudsman for Short-Term Insurance is an institution that is there to receive, investigate and adjudicate complaints relating to disputes between insurance companies and their own clients. Anything that relates to short-term insurance, most of the complaints that we receive will be on claims, rejected claims and things like that. We also sometimes get complaints regarding deductions that some insurers may be making on people's accounts where those people may not be aware that they have contracted for such premiums. We also have instances where people would like to terminate their contracts, but they are struggling to get that done through communication with the insurers.
Because they don't know the CPA Act. All right, gentlemen, let's get into this issue. Please help us. You can make me understand, and our viewers at home, what is the term credit insurance and why is it such a high cost? And is it necessary when you buy a product?
Well, basically what credit life insurance entails is when you take out a loan or when you buy, say for instance, furniture from a store, the credit provider normally sells you credit life insurance, which covers them and yourself for instance, should you leave should you lose your work or you pass away or you have no other income, then as per other insurance, your credit life insurance will kick in and the outstanding amount still owing to the credit provider will be paid by the credit life insurance.
All right. Okay, now please help me understand the term. It is not legal, but it is how it is administered to people that is illegal. Can you explain to me?
I think before we get into that, I wanted to just highlight one thing. Under your credit insurance, you have basically two types of insurance. The credit life that you was referring to, and you also have insurance for material damage to the sold goods. When you're sold these items, obviously it becomes risky for the finance institution involved, in that if the goods get to be damaged, it becomes a grudge payment for you to continue paying for this thing that doesn't exist anymore. So that is why, to protect themselves, they will insist on having that protection that you at least can continue to pay,
yes,
feeling that you can use the item still.
I get you there, Peter, but where does the warranty and guarantee kick in then? Because that's supposed to actually cover the functionality of whatever it is that you bought for the duration. But I mean, you do get a guarantee for a certain amount of time, obviously. But now, if you're selling me insurance when I've just bought something already, it comes with a guarantee or warranty. Why am I buying insurance?
Remember, your guarantees will be for a limited period, firstly. Secondly, you may find that only certain types of perils would be covered by your guarantee. So if it falls outside of that and the damage has existed or occurred, you'd still need to have some kind of cover for that.
All right, okay, all right, you can add that when we return, Sipho okwamanje sithukuya ngasezitolo mbukeli, but before we do that, yithi nginikhumbuze phela ukuthi nani ngabamba iqhaza odabeni silidingida namhlanje. Inamba zethu zasestudio 011 714 6918 noma 714 6919. Ungasithumela email ku consumer@sabc.co.za. Alternatively, catch us on Facebook na ku Twitter. Siyabuya khona manje. Sinamukele futhi babukeli, sakhuluma ngokuthi kuyini impahla esithengayo ibiza ngokuphindaphindaneyo ukuze mase sikhokhela ukuqeda ibiza ngokwesithathu than the initial price oyithenge ngakhona. Sinifundisa nokuthi umshwalensi uneqhaza elingakanani phela ekunyuseni imali esikhokhayo. Ukubeka umbono wakho mbukeli, sishala ucingo ku 011 714 6918 noma 714 6919. Ungasithumela email consumer@sabc.co.za. Send us your Facebook and your Twitter messages. All right, let's get into discussion. Butsibo, osichazele kabanzi, you have a background la ubudayisa khona insurance, ositshela udaba lakho.
Okay, ukuya ngokwazi wami njengoba ngingasebenza umsebenzi womshwalense phambilini ukuthi sine inkampani esibiza ngokuthi ama third parties. Third parties kusho ukuthi ilama company lawo ukuthi bawonikeza umsebenzi lo specifically ukuthi bayenze lo msebenzi lo ukuthi sithengisa nje insurance kuphela. Kodwa nakhona kulo msebenzi leyo kuba khona izingqinamba, then kuba khona ama pressures athize, so egcineni uthola ukuthi u-end up kwisimo ukuthi manje ugcina umuntu osudayisa umshwalense ngendlela ekungasiyona, ukuthi ke abantu abathengi abaningi abekho aware ngayo. Kodwa esikhathini esiningi ungamangala ukuthi mhlambe ngayenza nje umzekelo, ungeza uzovula mhlambe uza kimi uzovula mhlambe i-account namhlanje, and then kuba khona izinto mhlambe engizifakayo wena ungazi eziyimshwalense, and then wena uzobangala mhlambe makumele ukuthi uzobhadala installment sakho imali ekhuphukile than the installment desebawulindele ukuthi usibhadale. So iloko kwenzakalayo, but ama third party marketing companies, they are also important because of ezikhathini ezedlule even presently kukhona abantu ukuthi they are living in very disadvantaged backgrounds, but because of ama third party marketing companies amathuba lawa ababanikeza khona abantu ukuthi bathu abafuna umsebenzi, they end up changing their backgrounds because of they are also playing important role when it comes to creating jobs to other people who are not working, ukubantu abangasebenzi kanjalo. Kodwa into ibe khona ukuthini kulo msebenzi loyo kuba khona i-pressure because of when it comes to i-field yama insurance kuba khona ama targets, you have to work with targets, then mele ukuthi yes, yes. And then some other people, because of we've got this pressure, some people abazenzi ngokuthi badayisa insurance ngendlela engasiyona. It's because of the pressure that they feel nokuthi futhi mele ukuthi nyenzela ama targets, because of somehow.
But isipho lawma lokhuzana ama targets are they enforced by provider or umuntu enimsebenzelayo nina lo credit insurance in that case?
Usually a company as a third party bayanikeza ama targets mele ukuthi share on weekly basis nokuthi futhi on monthly basis mele ukuthi at least nyenze ama targets angakhiwa ama sales kanjalo. Yes. Usually the employer, the third party marketing company that you are working for is the one ekmele eknikeza ama targets ukuthi okay manje i-target yakho for leli viki leli ukuthi kube ama targets angaka.
Awubambe kancane kanjalo nje Sipho. Sis Beauty kwathena sakwamukela ehlelweni.
Umam Beauty Mahlangu.
Yebo mama, sakwamukela ehlelweni. Sicela ukuza umbuzo nombeka umbono.
Ngiza ngikhuluma ngabantu unawuthenga uthola insurance.
Yebo ma.
Kusho ukuthi mina ngathenga bewulethu. Ngaba ne-insurance engibhadalayo i-comprehensive insurance ngibhadala 40 rand a month.
Yebo ma, ungasitshela igama la uthenga khona kodwa qhubeka.
All right. Ngase ke ngigula ngaclaim insurance ukuthi ngibhadale ngoba ngisakhona umsebenzi. Bakhuluma nje into eyiningi bangangilokhuza zange bangibhadalele ngaze ngangenisa kulabo bama credit.
Okay, ubunawo insurance ma?
Benginawo ngo-2009.
Okay, muthola ukugula ubuse under insurance?
Yeah.
Okay, so bathini bakuyisa ngapha nangapha basafuna ukukhokha?
Yeah, bathi hayi angingachwali njalo elingixolile manje anginamathambo akukhona ukusebenza.
Yebo ma.
Mangiloko ngiyabhadala ke lesikwelete bangifake kulamalo. Lamagcwetha.
Okay ma, so singakusiza kanjani thina mama?
Ukusho ukuthi angazi ukuthi ningafind out ukuthi why bangangibhadali ngoba phela insurance bathe from 1 month iyabhadala.
Oh, okay. So ma kahle uyithathile insurance wayikhokhela kodwa uthe masuthola ukuthi uyagula abazange basigcine isithembiso sabo sokuthi bazokhokhela.
Zange basangikhokhela.
Okay, manje ufuna ukwazi ukuthi ungayaphi ukuyothola ukuthi wenze njani?
Iya ukuthi bangasiza kanjani bangikhokhele na.
Okay.
Ngoba say 3 years ngiloko ngiyabhadala yabona manje ngisana mali ngihola ipension.
Okay,
ipension yagogo.
Siyabonga mawulalele lapho uBud Peter uzokuphendulela manje umbuzo wakho.
Ngilalele ku-TV ne.
Yebo ma, siyacela.
Okay ma.
Thank you so much Peter. Please.
Okay. The first problem I sense ukuthi I'm not sure ukuthi where I understand the lay product I take lay. Second problem that I can sense ukuthi due to the time frame from 2009 until 2013 it's quite a while. In law you have only 3 years within which to institute a claim.
But I asked her and she said she was still with the insurance when she actually fell sick. So that's why she doesn't understand why she still has to go pay because she's been paying for it even before.
Yes, but remember when you put in a claim, it will be based on the time when the loss occurred.
Okay.
So if in a case, for example, she became ill in 2009 and that's when she should have put in a claim.
Okay.
And she got frustrated for whatever reason. She can no longer come to our office because it will be said that that matter has prescribed in law and she can't even go to court in that because of that lapse of time. So it is very important that consumers that have problems with any of their insurance products make sure that you know what time frames you are allowed to take steps within and do so if possible.
All right, now, but before we delve into this issue, then I want to get into Kobus because Kobus, you're going to explain to us, what brought about this whole mission that you're on.
Issue mama njengoba esho kusho ukuthi mangizwa athi azange abhadale kuba khona imithetho ethize mawuthatha insurance eyenza ukuthi iclaim yakho noma uthi uyayifaka ingabhadalwa. Enye yemithetho ukuthini umama kumele ukuthi amake sure ukuthi each and every month installments sakhe beka up to date account yakhe ayikaze yabuyele emuva waskippa a month because of sometimes kuma terms and conditions yes batshela ukuthi it sees the cover sees once mhlawumbe ungaskippa one payment or even 2 payments.
Okay, so izinto ekumele azi-check.
Yes,
okay, thina thatha ulindile sakwamukela ehlelweni.
Yebo sisi kusho ukuthi mina inkinga yami ukuthi nje nganginesikoloto so ngazifaka kwi-admin mina ngokwami.
Yebo bhuti.
So now ngayibhadala i-admin from 2 last years. Manje inkinga igama lami ukuthi kalisasuleki manje lapho ngiyakulabantu laba bangifake kwi-admin. Bathi no still ngizakoloda and imali ngayibhadala ngayiqeda lesasiqede ngayo yabona manje still ityala lami livaze on so becela uxolo ndikancedakala kuphi.
Okay, all right bhuti. All right, Peter, make us understand. Tell us your mission. You're on a very big mission. What were the initial concerns that brought about this mission? Please.
Well, Alicia, as I said earlier, basically Summit orders the garnishee orders and thereby orders the loan agreements as well. When you look at the loan agreement, you have a look at the credit life insurance as well. Now, basically, according to the National Credit Act, the charges for credit life insurance need to be reasonable. Now, reasonable is quite a broad...
it's not a number.
Yeah, it's not a number. It's quite broad.
Not a number.
Now, basically, how to get to the reasonableness is, in law, criminal law specifically, you have a look normally at how reasonable person would act. Now, to bring it back to the NCA, you would take what the industry takes as reasonable. Basically, take the... what they charge for credit life insurance, take that average, and that average will basically form your the reasonable amount being able to charge.
All right,
Now,
hold it there for now, Peter. Hold it there for now, Kobus. We're going to be back after the break, and I'm going to hold you to that. You better explain. Okwamanje mbukela sithathe lethuba ukuthi sibonge uButsipho Siroto yena ngokusivakashela ukuthi asixoxele ngodaba lakhe mathupha la e-studio. For now, sizothatha lenye ikhefu. Hlala nathi ungayindawo. Siphinde sikwamukele mbukeli cha hayi uButsipho besisi siyamxosha kodwa uthi yena cha ufike ngathi ziningi kakhulu izinto asafuna ukuzichazela phela umbukeli ngazo nokuthi aziqaphele uma phela uthatha insurance since enguqepheshe phela ngoba izinto akade sebenza ngazo. Okay, ake sifunde izinto ke enisithumele zona ku Facebook manje mbukeli. Let's take our very first comments on Facebook. Credit agreements are too expensive kusho usis Priscilla Mfusana. I'd rather buy cash. I've learned the hard way. Siqhubeke nosesilona Magida athi it's not fair. Usive mazizini Gweva uthi kufuneka sifunde ukubeka imali rather sithenge izinto cash ukuba ezi credit cards zisinamathela ubomi bakho bonke into ongasuke ukwazi ukuphuma kuyo kwenza uhlale usematyaleni imihla yakho yokuphila. Ake sibone usisili nomo yena uthi wow, I love the topic, I can't wait to watch. I'm tired of these high purchases. Asithatha usiphokazi okugcina usiphokazi consolation. It seems a little cheap when we pay that little amount each of the month for about 24 months then paying cash, but honestly it is very expensive. All right, sibonge kakhulu babukeli ngama message wena nisendela kona ku Facebook. Yabona sesimthatha bukhoma ama Facebook comments wena, so siqhubekani nisendele wona. All right, panel, let's talk about Kobus. You're in the middle of a very important point for me, and then we'll talk about the answer that you wanted to. Yes, administration. You wanted to address the gentleman. Yes. So please go ahead.
As I said, you look at the industry standard by looking at the average that the industry is asking when it comes to credit life insurance. Now, the industry standard is between 4 Rand and 7 Rand per 1,000. Now, basically what we noticed while, when we audited the loan agreements and when people complained via our 6 Cents website,
yes,
we noticed that retailers and credit providers are charging a hell of a lot more than the industry standard of 4 to 7 Rand. They got to 15 Rand per 1,000, where the industry standard is between 4 and 7 Rand. Now, basically, what that entails for the consumer out there is that you'll be paying about roughly 30% plus of his the original amount he thought he was buying the product for, and that 30% will be purely for credit life insurance. Now, basically, he's paying a lot more than he should have been paid. Don't get us wrong, credit life insurance is a positive thing if it's implemented correctly. If the retailer or the credit provider is asking between 4 to 7 Rand per 1,000 Rand of the
give us an example, Kobus. Say I'm buying, let me say somebody, because I read something up, somebody bought a fridge for about 17,000 Rand. They actually bought a fridge for 7,000 Rand. They ended up paying about 27,000 Rand, and it was like 18,000 Rand on credit insurance only. How does it come to that?
Well, basically, so I have a calculation in front of me, so I'm going to use that.
Please do.
In this instance, the consumer took out a short-term loan for 25,000 Rand.
And he's going to explain the difference between short-term and long-term loan, right, Peter?
Well, basically, he took it out for over a period of 36 months. So basically, he had 36 months to pay back this 25,000 Rand.
Okay.
Now, his credit life insurance, the total he would have paid back over the 36 months was an amount of roughly 9,500 Rand.
On insurance?
On insurance,
during the 36 months?
Yes.
Alone?
Alone.
Goodness, okay.
Now, how to calculate whether this is reasonable or not is you take that 9,500 Rand being the total amount of your credit life insurance and you divide it by the amount of months that you're going to be paying.
36, yes.
Thereby coming to your monthly installment. Now, that was roughly 260 Rand monthly premium on credit life insurance.
Jeez.
Now, then you take that 260 Rand and you divide it by the amount of thousands that you borrowed. This guy borrowed 25,000 Rand, so you take that 640 and you divide it by 25. Then you get to an amount of roughly 10 Rand. Now that is 10 Rand per 1,000. Now that is way too much.
That is not reasonable.
Yeah, that's totally unreasonable. The industry standard, as we said, is between 4 and 7 rand. So anything above 7 rand is becoming excessive.
All right.
So all the consumers out there that's paying more than 7 rand is sort of they're paying too much, and the credit provider or the retailer is making money out of it.
Are they informed about these charges specifically, especially in regards to the amounts? Do you tell them that it's going to cost them 10 rand extra?
Yeah. Some people, they do explain. Abanye bayachaza umthengi yamchazisela kodwa kwesinye uyachaza sis Alicia ukuthi nje kwesinye isikhathi ukuthini sometimes kenzeka ukuthi kwesinye isikhathi wenze ukuthi maybe umuntu lo okuthengisela umshwalense yenze ukuthi that person is still new. Sometimes you come across a situation ukuthi lo muntu lo mhlawumbe usasemusha. So as umuntu lo usasemusha, there are some kukhona ezinye zezinto ukuthi akakazazi kahle, but when amathola umuntu ukuthi une experience kulo msebenzi loyo uyamchazisela nge-credit life insurance, because of esikhathini esiningi consumers they do find out especially with the credit account ukuthi unayo i-credit life insurance ukuthi it will cover her or him, or in case if mangabe kenza ukuthi alahlekelwe umsebenzi, and then in case kwesisikhathi there permanent disability iyangena lapho mangenze ukuthi abe disabled permanently kanjalo. And then another thing mele ukuthi abathengi babe aware ngayo ukuthi kwesisikhathi mele ube uqaphele ukuthi usayinela ini mangabe uthenga umshwalense. Mele kubazi ukuthi it's wrong ukuthi ithi mawuthi ngizele nje umzakelo sis Alicia ukuthi mawuvula i-account bese ngeza kuwe ngusipho ngithi sis Alicia nansi i-account yakho se right, it's been approved, then unalama insurances lawo 1 2 3, and then suyaqala uyacabanga sis Alicia ukuthi but I never requested them, bese mina ngiyeza la ngiyakusayinisa okay sis Alicia nansi iphepha ngicela ukuthi ungisenele neziliphi lezi elama insurance lawa aphuma ne-account yakho. Usually mawuvula i-account, whenever you apply for a maybe a retail store account, the insurance it's optional. We are now a consultant or that field agent.
So it's not mandatory to get the insurance.
Well, it depends. It depends from retailer to retailer. They can say, listen, when you want to take out this loan or when you want to buy this product, you're going to need insurance, because
obviously things like cars, you can't drive out without insurance.
Yes. What the consumer must remember is they cannot force you to take the insurance this retailer or credit provider is offering you.
Okay.
You have the right in terms of section 106(4) of the National Credit Act to get your own insurance. Like, for instance, you don't need to take West Bank's insurance. You can go to Outsurance or whomever and get get information from them as well with regards to how much it will cost you. Yes.
All right, let me take Pearl Maluleke from Soweto. Yilungelo Lakho sisi.
Hello njani?
Siyaphila sisi wami, sicela sibuze umbuzo nombeka umbono.
Okay, umbuzo nombono in a way bengizocela ukuthi like bona laba sinikeza credit bachaze like bit by bit, ngizwe ubhuti athi abanye uthola ukuthi basaqala abazi, but mina as umthengi I'm supposed to ngizazi lezo zinto, because when we go and claim ukwabona bazokutshela ukuthi sokuchazele kanje na kanje, because bengike ngathenga ifurniture ne makumele ngaphelele umsebenzi okay bengidismissed, kanti abangichazelanga ukuthi i-cover i-retrenchment. They only said how felt like in Mereko, I mean what type of who felt like in Mereko. Understand?
Okay,
so which is not fair on clients as well. I understand ukuthi nathi somsebenzi wethu ukuthi sifunde, but some of the things kwamele clarify.
Okay, siswami usuqedile?
And then enye futhi like i-credit like ne-insurance yakhona le bayifakayo mawuthatha isikoloto, say because of I have a friend uthathe lona i-building material, into zakhe zikoste about 29,000 something imali le bamboleke yona, but kwamele abhatale 60 something back. So is it insurance yavumele like kuyavumele ukuthi ubhatale double the amount oyibolekile?
Okay siswami siyabonga kakhulu sisiphela ulalele impendulo lapho kumabona kude wakho kwamanje mbukela sibambe lapho sithi futhi ukuthi shwi ngaseyitolo. Please join us after this commercial break. A very warm welcome back, Mbugeli. We are still discussing why we end up paying double or 3 times the price of goods and services we buy on credit. While we have heard it, it's a result of a numerous number of costs. Out of these, credit insurance has been identified as a cost which has raised quite a lot of concerns. And it is this cost that we are examining today, whether it is used to exploit consumers by some suppliers or not. To take part is Shaile Ucingo. Nazi numbers zethu zase studio, usithumele email ku consumer@sabc.co.za. Status is Ruth from Soweto. Sakwamukele sisehleleni?
Yebo linjani?
Siyaphila kakhulu ma. Sicela sibuze umbuzo noma ubeke umbono.
Ngibuza umbuzo.
Yes ma.
Uyabona lento le ye-insurance iyahlukumezana ngoba ubhadala angazi imali ehlanyayo. Okay, uneke uthenga into ye-2000. Mawuthenga into ye-2000 ngike ngaya naseshop ngababuza bathi bafaka le mali automatically. So imibuzo wami ngibabuza ukuthi okay awushoni le nto ayitshontshwa uyaqeda ukubhadala after lapho le mali iyakuphi. Why kungabe ne something ebayenzayo ngoba really yahlukumeza ikukhulisela i-account uthole sobhadala aboma 10,000 into mawuyithenga cash uyithenga nge-2,000.
Yebo ma.
Why mawungashoni angithi bathi i-insura wena i-insura naleyo nto. So why ungashoni ingatshontshwa ingamosheki kube ne something ebayenzayo.
Siyabonga kakhulu Mam Ruth for umbuzo wakho yaza ma ulalele kumabona kude wakho ne.
Okay.
All right. Okay. For now, we're going to take more of those Facebook messages. Let's take the very first one from Ishe Mlungu. Hi, please ask your guest to explain in detail the following: HP, guarantee, warranty. Thanks. Zoliswa, I'm sure my guests are taking note. Zoliswa Kehle says, no wonder we are blacklisted because we pay more on one item. That is Sandisiwe Akua Magoda. Asithathubuyi Lomzi Mhlonyane uthi inhlungu leyo ngempela cha imphathisa ikhanda ngempela lento ye credit insurance. Sithathe uOpa Ntimane. It's because we black, we don't read the terms and conditions. Opa Ntimane Kamdladla, thank you so much for your comments this hour. Panel, I'm going to ask you to very quickly please address those 3 things that the consumer wanted to find out. HP, guarantee, warranties. I think we touched very little on guarantees when I was interrogating Peter in finding out why do you have to pay insurance if you've already got warranties. Do you want to say something, Quibbles?
Yeah, well, my field of expertise is not really in, I think HP's for hire purchase.
Yeah.
I will not, unfortunately, not be able to go into detail on any one of those.
Yeah.
But when it comes to warranties and guarantees, I think Pete will agree that it basically comes down to a warranty. Most of the times will be for, listen, this product must work for X amount of years or months or whatever. Should it break in that time, you can take it back and they must give you a new one.
Yes.
Or one of the same
under the
value.
CPA Act, yes.
A guarantee or guarantee is basically the same. Sorry, but hire purchase, I have no idea. Yeah.
Who can tell us about hire purchase?
Well, I don't think we would have the time to go into detail.
Not into great detail, really.
But I think in very short terms, your hire purchase basically refers to an instance where you buy an item and you pay for it over a period of time, and in that period probably ownership will remain with the seller rather than become yours. And then your guarantee and warranty are basically commitments relating to the product. There will be various terms and conditions. It could be by the supplier and it could also be by the manufacturer. So basically it might be in terms of what the product or service is supposed to deliver for you as the consumer, and maybe any supporting services that come with the product and things like that.
All right, let's address our viewers' questions now. We had a caller who said he put himself on administration and he's still he's paid off the debts, but he's still paying for this credit insurance. Quibus, what can he do there?
Well, when it comes to credit insurance and administration, first thing, so I just want to address another thing when it comes to administration. Consumers must be aware of the amounts they are going to pay when they're under administration. For each installment you pay over to your administrator, they are allowed to take 12.5% plus VAT on each installment that you pay. Now, basically, a lot of times the mistake the consumers make is they think, listen, I've paid 10 installments of 500 Rand. So basically, I've paid 5,000 Rand towards my debt, but that's not, in reality, that's not the truth. Yeah. You must deduct 12.5% plus VAT on all the amounts you pay. On top of that, a lot of administrators, and we are addressing this as well at Summit, they take fees on top of that 12.5%, which they are not allowed to. Now, the only way to address that is to go to your administrator and ask him directly, listen, where is my money going? How is this distributions being made to my...
I want to see the receipts.
I want to see the receipts of the monies being paid over to my debtors and to my credit providers, and get behind the amounts claimed as well.
All right.
Now, what's the caller, what it comes down to is when you're under administration, your loan agreement or your agreement when you bought the furniture is still intact. So that doesn't mean you're going to stop paying credit life. You're still covered for in case you would lose your job.
But now, will it not be inclusive in that administration fee that he's paying to the administrator? Surely that guy thinks, look, I'm paying 500 Rand, everything is covered.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Basically what the administrator is doing, I'm paying him, for example, 500 Rand. He's taking that 500 Rand, taking his 12.5%, and then he distributes the rest of the money that's left. Let's say it's 480 Rand to your credit providers or the retailers. So say we'll give Bank X, he'll give 200 Rand, Bank Y 50 Rand, Bank C, he'll give 70 Rand or whatever. So there's not... that money you're paying to your administrator is not covering anything else.
You can't really trust the administrators, in other words, Quibbles. All right, for now, Mbugeli, let's take our very final ad break. Isikhathi siyahamba ngempela, ungayendawo Mbugeli, siyabuya khona manje. Mbugeli, welcome to our very final segment, Sishayile Phambili ngenkulumo yethu. But before we do that, ithi nifunde futhi amanye ama-messages wenu avela ku-Facebook. Unonsindiso Ncama uthi nice topic because singena emacaleni ngenxa yokuswela ulwazi. Kuyadlalwa ngathi uma singazi ngempela. Awusibonge kakhulu sisi. Richard Bungani uthi mina bengicela ukwazi ukuthi yingani umshwalense ungasizi if usugula bakufaka kuma credit bureaus. All right, siyabonga kakhulu but Richard. Precious Zetim Keys uthi yena credit insurance may help especially the black people as they don't think for the future. When they have lots of money, it will teach them to save. All right, and Usera Miss Pink uthi Elma Usipho is shaking. Unamanga Usipho, consultants do not explain that much. They do not even tell us what is 10% of that insurance. All they do is convince you. All right, sithatha uKhlomiso Chabalala lokugcina uthi retailers take poor people for a ride. Fraud is fraud. The law has to take its part. Sibonge kakhulu Mbugeli ngalawo ma Facebook messages wenu. All right, now another point I want to drive home, and we keep getting this a lot. Now, Peter, I don't know if you can help me here. What about the illiterate people that do not understand? As we had Mum Ruth calling in, the terms and conditions were not explained to her, and we just had a Facebook message where this person has been paying for insurance, but they didn't know. So what then? Where can you go to claim for such? Can they come to your organization, but Peter?
Yes, indeed. One of the things that people need to remember is in terms of the law, when you purchase an item, particularly where there's finance involved, you are supposed to be given proper advice. There are obligations on people selling you these products to disclose. Very important things, for example, when you have 1,000 Rand that you're paying on a monthly basis, you need to know 200 Rand goes towards the installment, 300 towards credit life insurance, the other 4 goes towards the material damage insurance, the other one goes towards your interest, all of that. And people need to understand that before they sign. And once you've got that, I think it solves a lot. It solves a lot of problems. If they don't do that and you have a problem, let's say it relates more more to the side of insurance, you can approach our office. We will do the investigation.
All right.
A lot of these discussions are recorded in some way or other.
Yes.
A lot of them are on telephone recordings, and we do listen to them if they are available.
Okay.
And if we find that no proper discussion and disclosures took place, we can reverse the contract, because as a basis of contracting, people need to have a meeting of their minds. And if somebody did not understand what they were signing, you cannot say that there was a contract between the two parties.
Okay, so Ma'am Ruth can come to your organization.
If it relates to the insurance side of things, we can. If it relates to something else, like the credit side, perhaps the credit regulator and the credit ombudsman might be able to assist in that regard.
Okay, but now another thing people want to know before you speak, Sipho, where does this money go for unclaimed claims? What happens? Kobus?
Well, basically, with any insurance, you just buy for the time that you have the loan, or when you have the loan, you buy insurance for that specific time. Say you have a loan for 5 months, you're covered for that 5 months until you've paid up your loan.
Yes.
You're not going to get back that money. That's sort of, you're paying for the service and the, if you can put it plainly, the opportunity to be able to be covered during that 5 months.
Okay.
So you'll never get back that money. And
that's sad.
Yeah, it is quite sad. The consumers must know it's for that opportunity to be covered during that time. That's what you've paid for. Now, what the consumers must always remember when it comes to credit life insurance as well, your credit life insurance payments needs to be reasonable. That also entails that it should not be excessive in as far as you cannot pay more insurance than what the installment is. The thing you've bought is worth. Like, I cannot pay 6,000 rands installments on insurance, but I only bought a fridge for 3,000 rand, for example.
Yes.
Or when I take out a loan, I cannot pay 5,000 rand insurance for a loan of 2,000 rand. That's totally unreasonable.
People should start asking questions then. Let me take our very final caller. Sisijabulile Foslerase, siyakwamukela wokugcina sicela nje uthi qaba.
Okay, bengifuna ukwazi ngile ngathatha isikoloto se-7,000.
Yebo ma.
Ngizobhadala for 3 years. Manje sele unyaka oyi-1. And at this moment, ngifuna ukusiqeda isikoloto. I just want to pay the remaining amount. So am I going to pay for the next coming 12 months interest yakhona ne-insurance yakhona na?
Okay ma. All right, sicela ulalele lapho kumabonakude wakho Peter.
It's not really something that we would deal with, but roughly, it depends on what the contract says. A lot of times when you terminate your contract earlier, you may find that there may be penalties. You'll probably save in terms of the interest over the period, but there may be penalties that are levied for that, depending on a whole lot of things, including the amount of the contract and things like that.
Is that advisable? Is that an advisable thing to do though?
I think it's a personal judgment that one has to make, because if you find that there is a penalty applicable, let's say the penalty is 30 rand, the interest is 50 rand. If I had to pay the penalty, I'll be saving 20 rand. So it makes sense for me to pay it earlier than I contracted. Therefore, I save my 20 rand. But if you find that the penalty is going to exceed whatever savings in interest, then it might not make sense for you to pay it earlier. So you would make the personal judgment and rather continue to pay in installments.
And then would there be a case where the provider refuses that you settle that amount within that time frame? Before the agreed amount of time?
I don't think you would have that being considered legal. I think the law would frown upon such
so
terms.
when you've got money, please come and pay us back, regardless of whatever the agreement is. All right, gentlemen, let's talk about tips now. We're almost at the end of the show. Let's talk about tips. Let's hear from you.
No, yeah, sis Alicia, there is a ukuthi i-customer agenze ukuthi maybe alichaziselwanga ngocwele. then enye into engithanda ukuthi abathengi emakhaya sibaluleke noma sibafundise ngayo ukuthini if ubona ukuthi you are not that
informed,
educated unelungelo lokuthi at least la u-applyela khona i-account if mangabe kukhona izinto ongazi understand cela lo muntu okusizayo ukuthi no ngicela ukuthi ungichazisele 1 2 3 akuchazisele yebo before usayina because of genze ukuthi umuntu ezo athi no mama ngicela ungisayinele la because of uthatha i-advantage ukuthi maybe mama ubaba akafundanga and then enye into futhi engithanda kuyi-highlighta sis Alicia ukuthi fraud it is happening and then more especially kuma credit accounts kenzeka some people banikeza ama insurances fraudulently kwenzeka ukuthi maybe lo muntu loyo akazi umangala nje sekufika installment maybe that consultant kwenze ukuthi maybe uwafake by the time i-customer lingekho it does happen and then in that case also i-customer linelungelo lokuthi libuye la livule khona i-account yes to lodge a complaint and then if ngoba because of sometimes kenzeka ukuthi customers lodge complaint I had a situation where ukuthi lelo customer lelo maliza they agree ukuthi no don't cancel this anymore ngoba it sounds like important and then another thing that I'd like to highlight is that consultants out there, please take care of the customers because of they trust, they rely on you when they come to you for help. And then please, you are a brand on your own.
You need to meet targets. Please wrap for us. We're so out of time. What is your advice and the best tip that you can give?
My advice for consumers is start asking questions. Don't take the first thing that comes
that you offered.
That you offered, or don't just sign. Start asking questions. Listen, what's exactly the amount that I'm going to be paying back? Firstly, make sure that you are in a situation that you can take out credit or that you can buy something on credit. And ask questions. What am I going to pay back? What's my interest rate? What's my rights? You guys can really visit our websites, summitfin.co.za or our 6 Cents website, where you can do a debt check. We have a debt check function that can assist you in to be able to see whether you can afford something or not. But don't be afraid to ask questions. You ask the same question 4 or 5 times to the credit provider. Ask it 10 times if you like.
Ask questions and find later. Basically. Wow, thank you so much. I'm sure my details is Vakashi Zami akhona ubut Peter njobe chazela ukuthi naye ngathatha izikhalazo zenu. He'll see what he can do. So Mbugeli, I hope ubuphethe ipeni lakho nephepha. Well, manje ke asibambe lapho Mbugeli ngoba sesifikele emaphethelweni ohlelo lwethu lanamhlanje. Ngithanda ubonga izivakashi zethu ngokusipha isikhathi sazo kanye futhi nolwazi lazo. Ngiphinde futhi ngibonge nami babukele emakhaya ukuthi nibe nathi phela kuze kube manje nisifonele nisendele ama messages ku Facebook. Please do join us again, same time, same place. That is next week Friday for another live consumer topic of the week. Ukhumbule ukuthola phela impindo ezinhlelo zethu. Join us every Monday morning khona la kumahamba phambili iSABC 1 Mzansi for sure from 9:30 kuya ku 10:30 for myself uAlisha intombi yakajali. It's goodbye. Msale kahle.
Yilungelo Lakho.